A couple of weeks ago, Amazon sent out an email to every single seller in the US saying that because of the challenges posed by the coronavirus, they were already starting to prepare for the fourth quarter of the year, the busiest quarter. And that meant there would be changes when it came to the amount of stock that you could send into an Amazon warehouse and the amount of stock that you could actually hold at an Amazon warehouse. Now, those changes initially were just for US sellers, but on Friday of this week, Amazon also sent the exact same email out to sellers in the UK and to sellers in Germany. So this video, I'm going to walk through the implications of the email that's just been received by people in the UK and Germany. And then I'm going to talk about solutions. What can we do to get over the new hurdle that Amazon has just given us all? Remember guys, I know it sucks whenever Amazon make changes like this, but we're entrepreneurs. Our jobs are to solve these problems so that we can reap the rewards. So let's get straight into it. So this is the email that Amazon sent out on Friday, and the main thing that you should pay attention to are the boxes in red. So let's just go through each of those now and talk about the implications. So the first box talks about the inventory performance index threshold changing, and it's going to be changing from the 1st of September to be 500 out of 1,000. Now, if you haven't heard of this performance index before, it basically is a measure against how your inventory management is. So if you send in a load of stock and it just doesn't shift, it's just sat in Amazon's warehouse for months and months, not selling at all, then your inventory score is going to fall. Okay, if you go below a certain threshold on Amazon's score, so per the latest email, that's going to be 500. If you fall below that, then you're going to be subject to restrictions with regards to how much storage you can have in Amazon's warehouse. If you are in the green zone, so anything above 500, then theoretically you're allowed unlimited storage. So here is my score. I'm currently on 701. And that means that I can send in as many boxes as I want. If I had 1,000 different products and I wanted to send in 200 units of each, that's fine. Amazon's not going to say, no, you've gone over your storage limit. Whereas for people that maybe have sent in stock that is slow moving and their score has fallen below the threshold, well, Amazon will say, you're only allowed a certain amount of space in our warehouses and you've gone over that, so you can't send anything else in. So when they initially brought this threshold out a couple of years ago, I think the score was actually around, the minimum threshold score was like 200 or 300. Then in response to the coronavirus, they increased it to 400. And then in response to ongoing problems with the coronavirus again and the fourth quarter of the year, they're increasing it again to 500. Now, they actually say that the majority of sellers will not be impacted by this change. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Given that I am well above the threshold, it's not going to impact me, but I think maybe for people that have goods that move a bit slower, it might impact them. The reason that Amazon brought this into place, it's actually for a good reason. It was basically to stop people sending in tons and tons of products during busy times of the year, so like in the lead up to Christmas, and then taking up space in the warehouse. The product wasn't selling, and it was stopping people who have fast moving products from being able to send in products to warehouses. So Amazon have got good intentions with this. I do just think that the way that they communicate it and the timing that they give is a little poor, but there you go. So that's the first part of the email. Now the second part of the email, and this is the really important one, the one that you should pay attention to if you're a new seller or if you're thinking of launching new ASINs to Amazon. So the email, the key part of the email says that in response to the coronavirus and to prepare for the busiest part of the year, they're now going to be restricting the amount of an ASIN or the amount of a product that you can send in to Amazon. They say that most products will have enough space. You'll be able to send in enough of a product for up to 3 months. And I've checked that for my products, and that is true. So here is a photo of one of my products that I launched in December. And you can see at the moment I've got 2,170 units, and I'm allowed to send an additional 1,091 units. So my total allocation that I'm allowed to send in of this ASIN is 3,389 units, which, to be honest, is probably about 3 months worth. So that is right. However, the thing that you need to pay attention to is that new ASINs, new listings, do not have a history with Amazon. Amazon doesn't know how well they sell. So therefore, for new products or for products that don't sell well at all, the limit, the 3-month limit, is going to be 200 units. And you can see here, here's a photo of a new ASIN that I created last week. And luckily I'd already created the shipment plan. So I haven't faced any issues. But from when they sent this email, the restriction now is going to be 200 units for your first batch, okay? As soon as you send the units in, once Amazon can see how quickly they sell, whether they're hanging around the warehouse, they will increase your limit. But for people that are brand new to Amazon FBA, for people that are launching new products, it's going to be a limit of 200 initially. And this is going to cause headaches for people, but don't worry guys, I've done some digging, I've done some talking to multiple people for you, and I've got some solutions. So let's run through those together. Okay, so what we're going to do now is run through the different options that you have if you've ordered, say, 500 units of a product or 1,000 units of a product. Basically, if you've ordered more than 200 units of a product, you need to think about what you can do in terms of storage and getting it to Amazon. The first 200 units for your first shipment plan, you can send those in, okay? You can send 200 units into Amazon. That's not a problem. But for the remainder, let's just say, in our example, I've ordered 1,000 units and I want to know what I can do with the remaining 800 units. So the first thing you can do is simply get the units shipped to you at home and store them in a spare room or your garage or wherever. Now, the benefits of doing that is, firstly, you're not going to have any storage costs, so you can avoid those. And secondly, you can drip feed the units in to Amazon yourself via UPS, which is very cheap. All you need to do is log into your account, create a shipment plan, and then just tick the box that says UPS. And it works out about £5 a box, which is very reasonable. And a box can weigh as heavy as 30 kilos. And I think the measurements are also like a decent amount as well. So you can cram in quite a few units per box. And that's ideal really for drip feeding. So as soon as you see that your units have reduced to maybe 100 or 80 or 50, you can just send in another load of units. And hopefully by then, Amazon will have increased your limit anyway. So you could possibly even send in 200, 250, 300, whatever the limit increases to. Now, obviously, the disadvantage of that is it's going to take up space in your house. I live in London. I'm not lucky enough to have a garage. I've got a small spare room, which at the moment is cluttered with Amazon returns and all sorts of Amazon things anyway. So I wouldn't really have the room for that. And secondly, another disadvantage of doing that is you can't offer fulfillment by merchant efficiently. Fulfillment by merchant is just like fulfillment by Amazon, except instead of Amazon fulfilling it, you do it. I mean, unless you fancy boxing up and packaging lots of parcels every single day, then fulfillment by merchant probably isn't going to be viable for you. So those are the options there. I'd say it's worth considering if you've ordered maybe 300 or 400 units or 500 maybe. But I think if you're doing 1,000 units at a time, this one's probably not that viable. The second option is to simply keep the units with your supplier. So get your supplier to send the first 200 units over. And what they can then do is, as soon as the units arrive and you start selling, they can then get the rest of the units, so another 200 or another 500, depending on your ability to send in more units. They can get those ready and then send them over. Now, the benefits of that are that you're not going to pay storage costs with your supplier. Hopefully not anyway. My supplier's done this before for me and it's been free. If anything is wrong with the product or you want to make a change, so let's say you send in an initial batch of 200 units and customers say the instructions are unclear or something was missing or whatever, it will allow you to say to the supplier, can you just double check all the boxes and make sure that the instructions were printed properly or that the bundle item was actually there, and so on and so on. So, I'm kind of clutching at straws there, but I suppose that is one kind of positive. Now, the disadvantages with this option here is it's going to be pretty difficult to drip feed effectively. So if you don't want to run out of stock and you're selling quickly, then obviously you're going to have a load of units like coming from the supplier, which are going to take time to get over to Europe. So drip feeding is going to be difficult. You will also probably have to pay a bit more for delivery. It's no secret that shipping 1,000 units on a per unit basis is going to be cheaper than shipping 200 units. But that's the price that you have to pay for this. And the next disadvantage is that you can't offer fulfilled by merchant either. Now, one advantage or one solution that I've just thought of actually as I was talking is what you could do is ship your first order by air or just by sea, get it to Amazon, and then as soon as it arrives, ship the second batch, say 500 units, by a slower method of transport, so say by sea. And what you can do with providers like Westbound or any other freight forwarder, you can get them to put on the carton labels and the pallet labels when they arrive in the UK. So let's say today I ship 200 units by air, they arrive at Amazon, and then Amazon starts selling them for me, and then at the same time I can ship 600 units by sea. They can be gradually getting there as I'm selling those 200 units, and then hopefully by the time that the 600 units arrive in the UK, my limits have been increased and I can send them directly to Amazon without actually having to run out of stock. So that's another option for you. The third solution is to store with a third-party logistics provider. Now, the way that this works is you would get your supplier to send your products directly to one of these providers in the UK or wherever you're based in the world. And that provider would then store the goods for you in their own warehouse, and then under your instruction, they would then deliver the product to Amazon's warehouse. So the benefits of this are that drip feeding is going to be very easy. So as soon as you're down to 100 units, you can just message your third-party logistics provider and say, please deliver, and they can arrange delivery very quickly because the goods are already in the country. You're also going to be able to offer fulfilled by merchant and get the Prime badge possibly. So these third-party logistics providers are pretty experienced with doing fulfillment themselves. You might not initially get the Prime badge just because Amazon will want to see how quick your delivery times are, but again, that is an option. You can also just use these guys just for storage and then arrange UPS to collect the goods from the third-party provider's warehouse and deliver to Amazon. So all you would do for that is create a shipment plan, pay the £5 charge, and then tell your provider that UPS are going to collect. And that's a very cheap solution. Or alternatively, you can get these guys to deliver to Amazon's warehouse, as I've mentioned. Now, the disadvantage with this solution is obviously you're going to have to pay storage costs, and it's a bit more of a kind of manual process thing to do, keeping an eye on stock between the two. I'd say it's a pretty minor disadvantage. I think out of the three that we've done so far, this one's probably my favorite, and it's going to be brilliant actually for growing in the future. If you want to grow on your own website, or you want to do fulfilled by merchant, basically reduce your exposure to Amazon over time, this is a great solution to start learning about now. The final storage solution, and this is one that I've seen a lot of in the groups, and it's a hack basically. At the moment, there's like a loophole, or there's something that you can do where Amazon will allow you to send in as much stock as you want. Now, these guys in the groups, if I'm being nice, they sound, using a nice word, they're a bit dodgy. They're not willing to tell you what the hack is. Instead, they'll just say, just give me your details, I'll log in and create it, and you can pay me. There's also people on Fiverr willing to sell the hack. I haven't actually paid to do that. Please be my guest. If you're watching this now, have a look for that hack, buy it, and then let us know in the comments. But it's circumventing terms of service somehow, isn't it? You can get around it at the moment. Who knows how long this hack is going to be around for? I would personally say it's not worth doing at this moment if you want to keep your account in good standing. So out of all of those solutions, I'd say the 3PL, the third-party logistic provider, is the one that I would go for. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've done some emails, I've done some phone calls, and I have got 2 solutions for you already. And I've managed to negotiate you guys some pretty attractive pricing. So the 2 providers that I'm going to show or talk about now are Westbound Global and Diamond Logistics. Now those guys can store your products for you. They can deliver your products to Amazon for you as well. And they can also arrange for UPS to make deliveries for you to Amazon if you want to kind of do it yourself and get cheaper pricing, or you only want to send in fewer units. Basically, if Westbound and Diamond deliver for you, they'll deliver on a big pallet, which is going to be quite a few units. So if you only want to send in, say, 200 units or fewer, something that might not quite fit onto a pallet, it might be quite a bit smaller, then UPS might be a better option. So Westbound are happy for you to arrange for your UPS to collect from them, and they charge just 50p per box and a 50p labeling fee. So they'll put the carton labels on for you. And then Diamond Logistics, they'll just arrange it with UPS for you, and they charge £6 per box with no labeling charge or anything additional to that. And then you can see the storage fees for both of those guys, which I think is pretty competitive. And as I mentioned earlier on with my idea kind of on the spot, what you can do is send 200 units directly to Amazon, and at the same time send however many units, 800 units by sea to either of these guys. As soon as they arrive, you can then see if you can send in additional units, and you can get either of these to just drop it off straight to Amazon without having to worry about storage. So Westbound Global, we've got the priority email access, that's smashers@westboundglobal.com, and then Diamond Logistics is adam.price@diamondlogistics.com. I would email both of those if you're interested. Explain how much stock you've got, the cubic meter, the size, all that good stuff, and they'll give you a accurate quote. So hopefully guys, this isn't going to be a permanent thing that's going to happen, right? It's going to be just until the 4th quarter of the year. Now, you know how I like to be positive. I like to see, every time there's a rain cloud and there's rain, there's always a rainbow somewhere. The way that I'm seeing it, I'm thinking positively, it's going to be good for us UK sellers, because Chinese sellers, international sellers that are sending goods in, they probably haven't got access to these 3PL providers yet. So they might be sending in 200 units of a brand new ASIN, they'll sell out, and then they're going to have to wait, another 5, 6, 7 weeks for their next batch to get in. Whereas us, we're ready and waiting. We've got our 3PL providers to send in more goods. So try and stay positive, guys. This is just a temporary measure in response to COVID. It's been a crap year. But hopefully this is going to cheer you up, because there's a solution at hand. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, please remember to subscribe and give me a like. If you've got any comments or questions, post them down below, and I will see you next time for another Amazon FBA video.